See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0. Halloween edition of College Crossfire is coming up next.
I guess we'll get into it, guys. Always enthusiastic, unbelievable, hard-nosed.
Roll up the sleeves for this one.
This Dallas team was very overrated from the start, like they always are every year.
The talent there, Kevin Mack, Eric Davis, and Cronin Roach are maybe 3 of the most talented guys in the team.
That's an ugly shirt.
Always a pleasure having you on, guys.
Time to freak out.
Good evening and welcome in the College Crossfire. I'm your host, Mark Skoll Jr. Glad to have you on your Wednesday night. Let's go ahead and meet our panel. All right, to my left, it's last week's champion, Henry Corwin. He's Hoodie Mellow, right?
Hoodie Mellow, and this is my Knicks Mellow jersey, but obviously he's no longer a New York Knicks, so OKC, keeping it real.
I like the
What can I say?
creativity.
Thank you.
Arya Bastami, he's got the New York thing going on. I don't know what's going on?
No creativity at all. Just a Yankees fan.
Just Yankees fan.
Just a Yankees fan.
Okay, and then
Gotcha.
on the end, Steve Helwick, Mr. Larry Fitzgerald. I like it.
Oh, show it
Silent,
off.
just like Larry Fitzgerald. So everyone here on this panel has won a Crossfire this semester. There's not 1, 2. So it's the first to 2. No one else has won 2 this semester either. So it's stakes are high. All right, guys. Oh, let me also say, whenever you get a point, since it is our Halloween edition of College Crossfire, you get to take a piece of candy as well.
Hey, Larry.
All right, Larry. All right, let's get going. Texas dominated in Waco this weekend, beating Baylor 38-7, while the Longhorns' opponent for this upcoming weekend, TCU, lost its first game of the season against Iowa State. TCU is now ranked the 8th team in the country, and it's the 3rd time this season Texas has faced a top 10 team. Texas hasn't won a top 10 matchup yet, but is this the week Tom Herman finally gets that signature win? We're going with Hoodie Mellow first here.
I'm going to say no. I think holistically, this is not a must-win because if their ultimate goal is to get into the bowl game, they still have Kansas, Texas Tech, and if they win those games, they're still likely to they still will get into the bowl game. This would be a great win for them against a top 10 team in the nation. It would really show fans that Texas can be dangerous at times. So I don't think they're going to win, but it would obviously not be bad.
You think it's going to be close, though?
Yeah, I think it is going to be close because Texas has been close to these top 10 teams that they've played, but they just haven't been able to close the deal. And against a team like TCU, I don't see them closing the deal this time either.
Yeah, it's been, I said 3 top 10 teams they faced. This is the 3rd one. 4 top 12. Oklahoma was number 12. They've been that close every single time. Arya?
You know, I've got to agree with Henry on this one. I think it's not the biggest thing in the world. I think it's still plausible if we get to a bowl game, and I'm going to bring a little bit of contextualization and history into this one. In 2015, what was Tom Herman known for when he was coaching in Houston? That amazing win against FSU in the Peach Bowl. So I think we just need to get to a bowl game, and that can solidify who Tom Herman is as a coach for Texas.
All right, Steve?
I don't think they get the signature win over TCU, but I think they're going to keep it closer than usual. TCU, Gary Patterson has had Texas's number better than any other coach in college football. You look at the past 3 matchups, they had 50-7 in 2015. 2014 it was 48-10. Last year they just crushed him and cost Charlie Strong his job. But this year I think Texas does keep it closer, but TCU's defense is way too good, and Texas is good, but TCU has that offensive edge. With Kenny Hill, although he had a bad week against Iowa State last week, he's going to bounce back. TCU always bounces back. They bounce back from losing seasons, and I see the offense bouncing back. Kenny Hill throwing for quite a bit this week and beating Texas by, I'd say, a touchdown.
So I know you all said TCU is going to win, but Steve's hair, Larry's hair is just, it's getting to me. I don't know, something about it. So, and I also like the point about TCU's defense. I think that defense is legit. All right, guys, moving on. The running back situation is in a flux at Texas after having Deontay Foreman, a 2,000-yard back only a season ago. The Longhorns have only had 1 running back rush for 100 yards in a game this season. Texas has 4 capable running backs, but who do you think should be the guy in the backfield? And before we get started, Steve, take a piece of candy, man. You got the point last time. All right, Arya?
You know, it's a tough decision to make, but I think I've got to go with Chris Warren. I think he's just extremely underutilized. I got a boo from the crowd. Perfect. I think he's extremely underutilized in terms of he's only got 69 carries this season. That isn't enough for a guy like Warren. I think that with his ability and what he can do, any time that the defense has focused in on him And anytime Texas has lost a game, he's gotten less than 3 yards per carry. So you understand that the playmaking ability is there if they're focused in on you to not get the ball as much. But I still believe that he needs to be utilized a little bit more. So I'm going to have to go with Warren.
What's crazy about Chris Warren is everyone thought this guy's going to be Deontay Foreman 2.0,
Right.
and he just hasn't been it this season. But he also hasn't been getting the touches, like you said. Steve?
I think that it doesn't really matter who the feature back is. I think the offensive line's had a real problem blocking for the run game this year. But going forward, I would say actually Tennille Carter might have the best shot at being the feature back because he gained that confidence against Baylor. But if you look at Texas, they've only had 2 good rushing games this year. One's against San Jose State and one's against Baylor. Those 2 teams combined for 1 win and 16 losses. They're just pitiful defenses. So Carter gained the confidence this week, and he's probably their best receiving back, so I'd use him the most. But honestly, I just think Texas's rushing game is a lost art at this point with how the offensive line's been blocking for them all season long.
And I've been saying it all season, Steve. It all starts up front, and once you don't have that offensive line working, it affects Sam, it affects the running back, it affects everyone. Henry?
I agree with Larry Fitzgerald over here. Listen, who should be the featured running back? If I had to say one, I would say Chris Warren III, just because he's done the most so far. He has the experience being a junior. But to be honest, I don't think it really matters because this team is best when Sam Ehlinger is making plays when he has protection, making plays, and he's second on the team behind Chris Warren III in rushing. So I think when Sam Ehlinger is able to stay back in the pocket, make plays, and run himself, that's when they're at their best.
Good points from everyone all around, but I'm going with Aria here just because we've seen what Chris Warren can do.
Right.
Texas Tech, Oklahoma State last year, or Texas Tech 2 years ago, excuse me. But we've seen that talent. We know it's there. We just don't know when it's going to show up. The offensive line obviously is not helping him, but we know Chris Warren has that ability.
Definitely.
So Aria's getting the point. Take a piece of candy.
Yes.
Go for it.
Forgot to do that last time,
the Baby
Steve.
Ruth. Ooh.
I
There
gotta
you
go with it.
Steve
I
from
gotta
last
go with
time.
it.
All right, guys, it's no secret
I
that
was
Texas
eyeballing it.
defense has been legit this season. They have allowed the least amount of points in conference since 2005 when they won the national championship. And the man behind the curtain is defensive coordinator Todd Orlando, and he might be the hottest coach on the market right now. Is Texas at risk of having Orlando taken from them by a head coaching job just after 1 season? Steve?
I wouldn't say just after 1 season, but teams have to really look at the body of work and what Orlando's done so far. I mean, every year he's been a defensive coordinator since he was back to his Utah State days. He's had 9+ wins a season. I mean, this season he might not get it, but Texas is fielding one of the best defensive units in the country, and they've looked great since that Maryland game. In terms of coaching jobs, you have to look at the American Conference. That's where star coordinators go to coach. I mean, that's where Tom Herman and Justin Fuente went to coach before they got their Power 5 jobs. And you look at Scott Frost and Mike Norvell, UCF and Memphis as coach, 2 of the hottest candidates in the nation. You could see Orlando maybe sneaking into a job like that when Frost or Norvell gets poached, and then they're frantically looking for coaches. So I think Orlando could fit into a nice role there and be an emergency coach for an American program just after this season if they call his number.
You don't think a team like Florida, an SEC team that just...
They tried Will Muschamp already. Do you think that they're really going to try to go that route again?
Orlando looks legit,
yeah,
man.
he
He
does.
looks legit.
I was
Henry?
gonna say.
I'm going to agree with him. I don't think after 1 season it's a complete risk because I think Todd Orlando is very comfortable in his position playing under Tom Herman. He played under Herman in Houston, and in 2016 their team was the 10th ranked defense in total yards allowed. So I think he's very comfortable in this situation, and he's also the highest paid assistant in school history. Yeah. So I don't think after 1 season he'd be gone. He's
making a lot of bank, but he would make a lot more if he was a head coach, Aria?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you guys on this one. I think Texas needs to keep this man as long as they possibly can. In all honesty, when it comes down to it, the last 3 games has been under 41 points from those teams that we have played in the last 3 weeks. And the biggest thing about it is we've had the 6th toughest schedule in all of the NCAA in football, and that's teams like Ohio State, Oklahoma, Clemson, Notre Dame. Sound a little familiar? These are all teams that are in playoff contention right now, and we're 6th in that list. So I think our defensive prowess has been spectacular throughout the entire season. We've got to keep Orlando as long as we can.
It would definitely be best for Texas's interest to keep Orlando because they've been flip-flopping coordinators left and right, and you got to, if you want to be good for a while, you got to keep that consistency. So I know you guys all agreed, but Henry brought up the comment about the money. So Henry,
boy.
Let's do it.
he's making bank as a
I
defensive
love
coordinator.
it,
So
especially with the
Henry's
Fitzgeralds.
getting the candy. He's getting the point. Awesome debate, guys. After the break, we're talking the best 2 words in all of sports. Game 7. We break down the World Series next on College Crossfire. Welcome back in the College Crossfire, your home for live sports debate on the 40 acres. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. It's ones all around. It looks like we got a new panelist here. What is this? I thought there was a Yankee fan in the middle.
Cleveland, this is for you.
So it's a bandwagon fan here in the middle, guys.
Okay,
Typical.
sure, yeah.
Typical. All right. Game 7, the 2 best words in all of sports going on as we speak in the World Series. Astros versus Dodgers, 2-0 Astros lead right now. It's been one of the most back-and-forth series in recent history, but in your mind, is this the greatest World Series ever? Henry.
Well, like Mark said, the reason this World Series has been so great is because it's gone back and forth, high-scoring games to low-scoring games. Game 5 was one for the ages. You know, the Dodgers keep going ahead. Astros keep fighting back over and over, and eventually the Astros close it out. But to answer your question, I can't say it's the best World Series ever because I don't even think it's better than last year's World Series. The Chicago Cubs, Cleveland Indians, down to Game 7. The Rajai Davis home run in the 8th inning off of Aroldis Chapman tied it up. Goes into extra innings, and then there's a rain delay in a Game 7 of the World Series. They have to. I can't even imagine these players sitting in the locker room during a rain delay thinking about Game 7. And then they get back on the field, and the game ends. I think that was incredible. That one night Game 7 was unbelievable.
Personally, for me, yes, that was an amazing World Series, and I think a lot has to do with this series being the greatest World Series ever. If this Game 7 is as great as we are hoping it to be, if it's really great, if it's as great as it was in Game 5, it might be. But
that's why last year was so great.
Yeah.
Henry's playing to the host, I see. All I've got to say is, New York, New York. 2009 Game 6 against the Phillies. Mariano Rivera, he's there. He's eyeing down Shane Victorino, and bam! Well, actually, Shane Victorino almost got a single off that, and we could have lost that game, but we won in 6. And to hear Old Blue Eyes sing New York in that stadium, just got some chills.
Where are you from again?
Jackson, Mississippi.
Wait, what was the score to that game? Wasn't that a blowout game? That was like a 6-run.
Yes, I think
It was a 6-run game, but listen, Victorino is Shane Victorino was a
He
great
could have
player.
hit a
right.
6-run home run.
That's
I was
right.
not
Yeah,
saying
you
that
could
is
do that
not
with
what I
no
was
one on
saying.
base.
With no one on base. That would have been history.
There was a man on second. Ditka.
Oh, my bad, my bad. Steve, is this the greatest World Series ever?
As you said, you can't really decide it's the greatest World Series if Game 7 hasn't taken place yet. But from what we've seen so far, it's lived up to the potential. You see Game 2 and Game 5. These are 2 all-time classic games. Game 2 has a whole comeback with the Dodgers up 3-1, Astros tying it. Astros look like they have an extra innings, but then the Dodgers come back and the Astros still win. But Game 5 was just a whole nother monster, something I've never even seen something like that in baseball before. Over 5-hour game, 25 runs, and it came down in the bottom of the 9th inning with 2 outs, and there were 2 strikes, and Chris Taylor bats in that RBI, and Austin Barnes scores and gets it to extra innings. Bregman hits that RBI with 2 outs, and Derek Fisher just beats a run to the plate. That's what baseball is all about, just seeing all these players showcase their talents on the biggest stage. And 25 runs, what better way is there for a World Series game to go than that?
I normally don't give points to anyone who plays to the host, but I'm giving it to Henry. Henry, take a piece of candy. That World Series was unbelievable. It's the 2 longest streaks in MLB history, title streaks in MLB history. 108 years for the Cubs. I believe it was 68 at the time for the Indians. It was unbelievable, and Game 7 was as legendary as
the fact that it went down to the wire.
Down to the wire, and especially it ended in typical Cub fashion. So, wow, what a game. So, Henry's getting the point. All right, guys, on to the NBA. We are 2 weeks into the NBA season, and if the season ended today, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Mr. Arya Bastami, would not be in the playoffs, and the Orlando Magic, yes, you heard that right, the Orlando Magic would be the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference. Big surprises there, but what is the biggest surprise for you guys of this young NBA season? We'll get started with Mr. Cleveland Cavaliers, Mr. Missing the Playoffs himself.
Okay, well, I've got to say the biggest thing is losing a nine-time All-Star in Chris Paul, and for the Clippers to be as good as they are playing right now. Now, I understand the season extremely early, and the Grizzlies are the 1st seed in the West. Wow, above the Warriors. Who would have thought? The season is, like I said, very, very early, but to lose a guy like Chris Paul, a leader, and you have Blake Griffin averaging 23 points. I mean, he's coming back, and he's doing the best that he possibly can. Patrick Beverley's came in as well, and he looks like an amazing player. Shut down, someone who someone's dad said was going to be amazing. I mean, it's no biggie, but that's what I'm saying. The Clippers are playing extremely well, and I'm honestly astounded with the way they've been playing.
Well, they got a lot of bench players, solid bench players in that deal. And that was why Houston was so good last year, because they had James Harden putting up all those MVP type numbers, but they also had that bench that was really good. You got Sam Decker, Pat Beverley. It's a solid trade for the Rockets and the Clippers. Steve?
I'd have to say the Orlando Magic. Can you think of an NBA team we talk about less than the Magic in the past 5 years? The Magic have been nothing. The Magic have been nothing since Dwight Howard left in 2012. They've just been Nick Vucevic just sitting there putting up double-doubles and the Magic getting blown out by 20. But this year, Frank Vogel has brought a new offense to the Magic, and they're averaging the second most points per game in the league. It's a beautiful thing to watch. You have Jonathan Isaac and Jonathan Simmons coming off the bench and just making contributions. They're real hustle players there. But no player has impressed me more in Orlando than Aaron Gordon. Gordon became, just from someone known for his dunks, he hit 5 out of 5 threes in a game, dropped 41 points this year. He's averaging over 20 points. Given all the talent that's left the Eastern Conference, I see him in the All-Star game this year. Aaron Gordon has done so much this year, and then you have Fournier and Vucevic also averaging over 20 points a game. The Magic just look great, even since Elfrid Payton went down, and I think their 5-2 record's been the biggest surprise so far.
I think it's definitely been a surprise, and like you said, Aaron Gordon, that guy's playing out of his mind. We've seen him at the dunk contest doing amazing things, but now he's doing amazing things on the court during actual games. Aaron Gordon, he's really impressing me so far. Henry?
Well, Mark, like you brought up in your opening, talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, how they're not in the playoffs right now. So the answer to this question a lot of people would say is, what's up with the Cleveland Cavaliers? But, that's right. They're the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last year, in the final 46 games of the season, they went 23-23, and it did not affect them in the postseason. King James will find a way to get it done like he always does. So to answer the question, who is the biggest surprise? How about this man, Victor Oladipo of the Indiana Pacers? He was traded for Paul George, and he's on a mission. He's averaging, I think, over 23 points per game. The Pacers are the 7th seed right now. Miles Turner has been out, and he's still leading them to victories. When Miles Turner comes back, former Longhorn, by the way, get ready for the Pacers.
Pacers in the Eastern. All right, so you got 2 Eastern Conference teams here. I still don't think the East is I mean, it's never going to be a debate. But I'm going with Arya here. I think the Clippers have really caught my eye. All the teams here have caught my eye, but the Clippers, especially losing
being in the West,
especially losing Chris Paul in the West, they're playing really well. So Arya, you're getting a point. Take a piece of candy, man. Take a piece of candy. All right, to the NFL we go. The trade deadline just passed yesterday, and a lot of moves were made. And for the first time in a long time, some big pieces were moved to, and of course the Browns messed up a trade once again as they didn't get the paperwork in on time for Bengals backup quarterback A.J. McCarron. But what trade do you think had the biggest impact? We'll start with Mr. Larry Fitzgerald himself.
You have to look at the trade between the Panthers and the Bills, where Kelvin Benjamin is going to a land where the temperature is more colder on the Kelvin side. But other than that, joke aside, Cam Newton lost his best target. I mean, he has Devin Funchess, and then what else does he have
McCaffrey,
in Carolina?
Dude.
Well, in terms of wide receivers, Curtis Samuel's there.
Greg Olson's still out
but
too, yeah.
Buffalo's actually a contender this year. They're the 3rd worst passing offense in the league, and Jordan Matthews only has 193 receiving yards this year. They needed somebody else to pair up with Tyrod Taylor, because Taylor lost Sammy Watkins. Anquan Bolden, he retired before the season, and the Bills have been searching for a receiver ever since, and I think a big, strong target like Kelvin Benjamin's really going to help them out, and that is a great trade for the Bills. Nonsense for the Panthers. Doesn't even make sense why they do that.
Great trade for the Bills. They're 5-2 right now. They could definitely make it into the postseason as a wild card. Still don't think they beat the Patriots, but great move for that team that hasn't been in the playoffs since what seems like
2000.
forever.
Yeah.
Henry?
I think it's hard to say at this point which trade is going to have the biggest impact because a lot of these trades just happened. But how about the Jimmy Garoppolo trade? This trade could have a major impact. Let's see what this kid's really made of. He had a 68% completion percentage in 2016. The 49ers gave up a decent amount. I mean, a 2nd-round pick, that's nothing to sneeze at. So the 49ers could be greatly impacted by this, and the Patriots are 1 hit away from turning into the Green Bay Packers, as my man Shannon Sharp said on Undisputed, which I watched. If Tom Brady goes down, the Patriots, they are no longer a threat, and that is crazy for the NFL.
But they got Brian Hoyer.
Yeah.
He was good in. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
But no, I think Jimmy Garoppolo. One thing that's very interesting about this trade is that Bill Belichick, he was very hesitant to make this move because he really, really likes Jimmy Garoppolo. The other quarterbacks that have been out of New England that have been traded to the other teams, he has been like, oh, yeah, we'll trade him. But this guy, Jimmy Garoppolo, they really think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
So that's a good point there from Henry. Aria?
Keep it short, keep it brief. Offense. I'll go defense on this one. Dwayne Brown to the Seahawks. I mean, Russell Wilson's been sacked 16 times already. That's terrible. And the guy is one of the best players when he's rolling out of the pocket, but he can't do that for every play. And he's, a little on the shorter side. So what, you want him to jump over and see what's above the pocket? Now he's got someone protecting him. So he can get more touchdowns and help my fantasy team just a little bit more. So I'm going to say Dwayne Brown going to the Seahawks.
Dwayne Brown, obviously, a great offensive tackle, all-pro offensive tackle. But I'm going with Henry here. So Henry's getting the point. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is he's a franchise changer. So take a piece of candy. And he's taking a 3-2-1 lead.
Every time that
3-1.
Tom Brady goes down, the Patriots are well off anyway. Matt
Yeah,
Castle last year
they'll
when he
be
was
good.
suspended.
But I think, they basically, they got that pick. The pick they traded to the Patriots was the pick that the Bears traded to them.
Yeah.
For Mitch Trubisky. So they basically got him for nothing. So Jimmy Garoppolo is now 49er. All right, great stuff, guys. That's it for now. We've got Rapid Fire up next, and you don't want to miss it. Welcome back to College Crossfire. It's heating up here for some Rapid Fire. For those of you watching at home, each question in Rapid Fire is worth 2 points or 2 candies tonight, so anyone can still take home the victory. Let's take a look at the scoreboard. We got Hoodie Mello with 3, Bandwagon Lakers fan with 2.
Big baller.
And Larry Fitzgerald only with 1. But there's still plenty of time left. So even Larry Fitzgerald on a team that's probably not going to make the playoffs
Gotta get
could
that
still
ring.
get that win.
Gotta get that
Gotta
ring.
get that ring. Gotta get that candy. All right, guys, here we go. The NFL trade deadline was complete yesterday, where we saw Jimmy Garoppolo go to the 49ers and the 5-2 Bills add wide receiver Kelvin Benjamin. But there were some deals that didn't happen that we all secretly wanted to happen. So what NFL trade would you have liked to have seen get done?
I mean, give me AJ McCarron to the Browns. Poor guy. I want to see him play. I mean, he was a great quarterback with Alabama, and anytime he's played for Cincinnati, he hasn't really done that bad. So I'd like to see him get a starting position, especially with Deshaun Kaiser. He's not really doing well. So yeah, give me
AJ McCarron to the Browns?
Yeah. I mean, it's not happening.
This could be anything you want for whatever team you root for. Like for me, I personally would have loved to see Mike Glennon get traded to the Cardinals. But whatever you guys want, whatever you think.
LeBron to the Lakers.
I think that we have to prove if Bill Belichick's really the great coach everyone says he is. Give Tom Brady and put him on. They should have traded Tom Brady to the 49ers instead of Jimmy Garoppolo.
And Tom Brady was a 49ers fan growing up, too.
To see if Jimmy Garoppolo is the real deal and see if the Patriot, if he was really a system quarterback and Belichick can win all these
I
Super
like that
Bowls
one.
himself.
I like that one, Steve.
I would have taken Jimmy Garoppolo on the Giants, but, that's okay. We'll take 11.
LeBron to the
right
Lakers.
now.
So Garoppolo to the Giants is yours?
Sure, why not?
All right, I'm going with Steve. You got the
Dang.
creativity here. Jimmy Garoppolo could have been the future of New England, and Tom Brady could have played for his hometown team, his favorite team growing up. So Steve's getting the point. He ties Henry just like that. So he's just in last place. Now he's tied.
2 pieces.
All right, Halloween was
2
just
pieces, 2
yesterday, and we're celebrating Halloween here on College Crossfire wearing our costumes, but the Texas team we're celebrating too. This is Deshaun Elliott, the safety, dressed up as the Joker. The Texas soccer team, Angela Kelly, all dressed up, and the volleyball team doing the Thriller dance here at K-State. But what do you guys think? What's the best Halloween costume celebration that you guys just saw there from our Longhorns, fellow Longhorns?
I mean, I don't know. That's tough.
Got the Joker with Deshaun Elliott.
I think the Joker with Deshaun Elliott. I mean, the guy's got what? I mean, he is an amazing player. I believe he has what, the most picks?
Yeah, most picks in the nation. Yeah.
Hey, he's
I agree.
making every offense a joke.
I think
he's making every offense a joke.
I think him being
6 picks? Deshaun, baby, I
think-
see you. Why so serious? Why so?
I think him being the Joker is a good metaphor because it's a scary costume and he is a scary player to opposing teams.
Right.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay. Steve?
I couldn't really see some of the costumes here. I just want to know if their offense dressed up as like a relatively good
An invisible
Oh,
ghost.
oh.
unit. Yeah,
Oh, what a
I
fun-
just think their offense should actually
Larry,
dress up
get a
as
ring.
competence for once.
Okay. I'm going to go with Aria because he said it
go.
first. He got it
Why
first.
so
It's rapid
serious?
fire, so he got Deshaun Elliott first. So it's right now it's 3-4 to 3, 3-4-3. But these next questions, it's a little bit different for this next one. All right, guys. World Series going on as we speak. Game 7, and we've got some baseball trivia for you guys. You get 1 point for each correct answer, and of course, whoever gets the most points wins the night. Here we go. I need you to name the last 5 World Series MVPs.
David Freese.
Nope. He was not one of the last 5.
He wasn't?
Okay, so you got
Buster Posey.
Chris Bryant,
Nope.
Anthony Rizzo.
Nope.
Schwarber.
Nope. You guys, man, did you guys watch the World Series last year?
Okay, Pablo Sandoval.
Oh,
Pablo Sandoval.
Bumgarner.
Madison Bumgarner.
All right, we got. All right, wait, hold on. Sandoval for Henry. Bumgarner
Lonzo Ball.
for
This
Steve.
isn't fair, man.
Red Sox was
We got Red Sox, Royals, and
Crowd.
Cubs.
Lorenzo Cain.
Phone a friend.
No. All right, I'll give you guys some hints. For the Red Sox, not playing for the Red Sox anymore.
Mike Napoli.
No.
Johnny Gomes.
You can see him on the Fox postgame show.
David Ortiz.
All right.
He was the MVP of that series.
No.
Yep.
Really?
Then we
All
were
right,
missing,
so we got 2 more. We
we're
got
missing a Cub and a Royal.
I'm missing a Cub and a Royal.
letter in this
Was it
jersey
Royals
right
right
now.
now?
I'm just taking the
It was
fat
the
out.
pitcher for the Royals.
Nope.
No, it was
Alex Gordon.
Steve Helwick.
Butler.
Royals. All right, guys. I'm disappointed by your
Eric,
baseball.
I'm
knowledge.
so sorry. I'm
Eric.
so sorry.
No,
Oh,
not Eric
no,
Hosmer. Not Eric Hosmer.
Was it Addison Russell for the Cubs?
No, you guys are terrible, man. You literally named every single Cubs player. All right, he wasn't. All right, I'll give you a hint for for the Cubs one. It was he was on the Royals the year before, won the World Series. with the Royals.
Ben Zobrist.
Ben Zobrist. There we go. There we go. Henry with the point. We got one more.
taking
The
it out,
Royals.
Mark.
All right,
It wasn't Gordon. Moustakis.
it wasn't Moustakas. All right, he caught the last out in the World Series for the Royals, and it was a strikeout.
Oh, no.
So he was a catcher.
He's a catcher. Perez. There you go. Salvador Perez.
Salvador, baby.
Oh my gosh. So what was the?
I got
I think
one.
I got 2.
2-2. It's a 5-5-5.
So it's 5-5-5. Oh my
Give us
goodness.
one more.
All
Give
right,
us
all
one
right.
more.
Since Steve said 2011, David Freese,
Oh, no,
he
no,
got the
no.
6-1. So it's David Freese.
Why
He's
so
so
sweet?
Larry
Come
Fitzgerald,
on.
and he's an Arizona Cardinal.
Ditka.
David Freese
I don't
was
think that's the fairest way to
St.
break the
Louis
tie.
Cardinal. So we were actually tied 5-5. That's unbelievable. All right, Steve Helwick is your winner. Do we have time for FaceTime? Do we have time for FaceTime? All right, Steve, take it away. We got time for FaceTime. Go ahead.
Well, you know what started yesterday? Midweek Maction. Got to talk about that Maction, baby. Right now, Wednesday night, Western Michigan versus Central Michigan, battling for the can. We have a great one, but tomorrow night's going to be the game of the year. We have Northern Illinois, one of the best defenses in the nation, versus Toledo, led by Logan Woodside, one of the best offenses. This is going to decide the MAC West. They probably won't get that New Year's Six bowl this year, but there's so much on the line tomorrow night. Tune in Thursday night. Going to be a great one here at the Glass Bowl.
Might have been the worst FaceTime I've ever heard in my life. All right, that's it for College Crossfire, guys. Larry Fitzgerald, a.k.a. Steve Helwick, is the champion. Don't miss College Press Box next
job,
Monday
big
at
ballers.
9 o'clock for a recap of all sports news on the 40 acres. Special thanks to everyone in studio, Master Control, and to you for spending your Wednesday night with us, not watching that World Series Game 7. Until next time, I'm Mark Skoll Jr. Good night.
Everyone down.